Any questions?
One question.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. Were you saying that you think suicide is acceptable under certain circumstances, and those circumstances are based on quality of life?
No, I'm not actually making any standpoint at all. This is one of the things I can't decide I can't personally make a decision on. But I'm saying that is one of the different reasons that we make this decision in society. One of the different reasons that this decision, whether or not someone can and cannot commit suicide, is based on the idea that there is a quality to life. Living is an actual thing that should be cherished.
Right, so that life is sacred.
Yes, yes.
Right.
And there's always some fruit that can be carried. That can be extracted.
Yeah.
Extracted. Just from living.
In Oregon, we call it death with dignity. If life is the only thing we really have, should we not be allowed to take it ourselves?
Yes. Why are we not allowed to be in possession of our own life?
Right, right.
That's a very big question.
Right. That's the only thing that we have. But I think you miss out. But the idea, I gave an anecdote of someone with a rock above their head about to commit suicide. Someone that you love, your brother, your father, whatever. Let them, you don't let them. Let them choose that, or you're going to use your force because you love them so much. So there's right.
Well, what if your brother's brother, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, and he's 95 and he's totally miserable?
Right, exactly.
It's quite different from your brother who's 35, who...
Just a little sad.
Yeah,
right.
They're two different.
So this is the thing. That's the third question is, if we're going to draw a line, where do we draw it? That's a very, very important point. I've racked my brain for hours trying to think about that, and I always contradict myself, and then I'm just, fuck it, I'm not going to think about it anymore.
There's one question.
Yes.
Well, I think you made a very good point when you took the example that people keep starving in Africa. And, well, I don't know if that was really your point you wanted to raise, because you compared, for example, how much can be, let's say, donated to these kids, as opposed to how much money is spent on maintaining people that are dead.
Yeah.
And I agree completely that it's very difficult to draw the line, and maybe that's why the line hasn't been drawn yet. And I guess the argument you mentioned about the quality of life, right? But it's like, okay, if you have the resources, no matter what the quality of your life, no matter if you're even aware or not that you are alive, you try to preserve that if you have the resources. But then you say oh, but the kid in Africa, well, what's the quality of his life? He doesn't even have money to eat. He cannot hope for any education. He cannot hope that he will ever get maybe to age of 19, let's say, right? So it's but I think the final point is who has the resources,
Right.
And I have a feeling that the Western, or let's go more developed societies regard their own lives as more valuable than the lives of the poor people.
Do you hold your mother's or your brother's life more valuable than my life if you had to choose between two different people? Of course, right? So it's just bigger circles. We have so many circles. One is my neighborhood. Of course, my neighbors, I'm going to try and protect them over someone from a different neighborhood. Then it goes bigger and bigger. But of course, we hold our lives more valuable because it's us, it's not them. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a really hard question because we don't really know what happened. You know, what are the consequences when we do that? That's why it's a really hard question.
Spiritually, or do you mean family?
What happens when you kill yourself? What happens? It's a matter of belief, right?
Yeah, that's a matter of belief.
I think from a Buddhist point of view, it's not very good, I think. They say you end up in a pretty dark place, I think, for a while.
That's, in all honesty,
So if you see it like that, it's oh, maybe you shouldn't do it, right?
Well, yeah, and then at that point in time, it's still their own consequences they're reaping. is not really.
But what if they're not aware? Like you have
Yeah, right.
this pre-adolescent child and they want to take drugs or whatever, but they're not aware of the consequences. So it would be like sometimes, even as grown-ups, we're not aware of some consequence because we have this dimension of spirituality. You know?
Right.
So
No,
and it's not a belief; it's still a belief system. So
the actually, this is exactly what me and Alexander were talking about. It's like really, where, at what point in time can we let someone make their own decision, or where can we draw that line? Because who is actually aware, like I said, who is actually aware of all the things you do? I know I'm not. Sometimes my roommates, Carrie and Frank, will tell me something, and they'll tell me why I'm doing something, and that makes total sense. I never even realized that, and it's obvious from the outside. But sometimes we don't really know what we're doing and why we're doing it. We're kind of reacting, and so if that's the case, then maybe they don't know if they really want to commit suicide or not. But if their life is miserable and being alive is painful, just like in assisted suicide, being alive at this point in time is painful. Whether it be emotional or whatever situation, if being alive is painful, should we let them do it? And how do we realize how much pain is acceptable or how much, where do we realize, are they really in pain? Is life painful for them, or they're just lost in their emotions and don't realize what's going on? So.
Well, if you would know for sure, again, that later would be worse, you wouldn't do it, right? I mean, if you would know, okay, you kill yourself and after that it's going to be a nightmare, like a real nightmare, like when you sleep at night, if it would go on like that, you'd be like, okay, I can kill myself, but I'll have the same problems, but they'll just come to me in a different way. Well, that's what I believe.
Right, of course.
That it still goes on. I believe the soul lives on, right? I don't think it's over.
That would be...
It will live on, and the problem remains the same. It will just come to you in a different way. Maybe a bit more painful. That's what I think.
That's why he mentioned that in most religious countries they don't accept euthanasia because they only care about souls. Right.
But I mean, I accept it, right? For me, it's okay, right? If somebody wants to do it, it's okay. But I'm just saying,
Maybe,
I don't know what happens.
Maybe you shouldn't assist people to live, and you shouldn't assist people to die.
Let them, exactly.
So you don't,
the Japanese.
You don't help them kill themselves, and nor do you help them stay alive beyond a ridiculous.
but what if some people
Somebody gets cancer, you throw them out on the street, that's it, buddy.
You try them, but you come up with a cut-off point. And something like I said before, he's 90, and the quality of life is never going to improve, and they're miserable, and they, which is to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas somebody, again, it's all about, sorry.
No, I'd like to hear this.
No, I finished what I was saying.
Oh, really? No, I agree. There's also another option is let nature take its course. They want to jump off the river, jump off whatever, and do whatever they want to do. Let them do it, right? But would you stop? Would you just let someone murder someone if they decide I want to kill you? I don't really like the speech last week. Something about Chinese medicine, right? Just joking. But I don't like this form. I want to kill the person responsible for this form. Should we just let nature take its course and let me do that? And at that point in time, okay, no, that's murder. You're taking someone else's life. But at what point in time are you actually conscious? And it's you yourself that's making the decision that you're making, that you're acting upon, or some type of other factor that's going on in your head where you don't quite understand your present condition. And that would be murder in a sense as well.
I think there are two different situations where suicide sort of takes place. One is the sort of act of desperation where you're bankrupt and your family's abandoned you or something like that, and maybe in that sort of situation you don't really know. There are just so many conflicting emotions and you don't really know what's driving you and whatever. But the other case, I think the deciding whether one should die or not. That only applies in the other case where, for example, you've got some terminal disease and, you know, it's not going to get better, you know that. And, you know, you've got sort of 2 years of
pain,
pain in front of you. And
or delusional, pain-medicated life.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's going on anyways. But yeah, exactly. So, but with the desperation, I think we should further separate this. Everything, there's two types of thinking, splitting and grouping, categorizing, and then taking categories and opposite, just making them into smaller categories. So we have desperation and actually having a legitimate reason because you know your life's not going to go past this amount of time, and you know you can already see exactly how it's going to end. You're in the bed for another 2 years, and you're going to be high on pain medication or in pain, anyways. So all right, so that's that one. Then the idea of desperation. Still, at what point in time can you not see your future? At what point in time, or at what point in time, maybe you love someone so much that maybe you can see beyond it, maybe you can't see beyond it, maybe there is something beyond it, but you just don't give a shit, in all honesty. You just fuck it, you know, I'm gonna commit suicide because I don't really feel like living anymore. I need that person. And maybe there's a future for that person. But can we stop that? Is that really the question is, I'm sorry, trail, carry, failing.
I think it's a